what's happening, Daredevil fans? In this video, Phil marks out and is super late about Daredevil Born Again episodes 5 and 6, so let's get into it. Spoilers.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. Okay. So, shall we?
Episode 5 starts with the opening credits for a change of pace. Noise. The episode kicks off and it's St. Patrick's Day. Murdock is meeting with a bank manager because he's trying to get a loan to keep his firm afloat. The original banker Murdock was supposed to meet with couldn't make it for some reason, and luckily for Matt, Miss Marvel's father, Yusuf Khan, an incredibly honest man, is responsible for denying or approving the loan instead. Yusuf puts his daughter over as a superhero. The two bond over Jersey City and White Tiger. Matt offers his services. Mr. Khan doesn't approve the loan. What a dick. We cut to the alley and some high-level Irish robbers are unloading giant guns about to rob the bank. They all wear different colored masks, so like Reservoir Dogs, we'll refer to them by colors: green, red, blue, purple, and yellow, I think. They storm the bank, beat the shit out of all the tellers and clients, and Khan tries to dial the phone for help. Murdock heads back to the bank because he was down the block already somehow, and walks in pretending to be an innocent blind man. Noise. The burglars take Murdock hostage, and this show fucking rules. Every episode really feels like its own standalone comic book that incorporates all of the elements from, you know, the comic books. One episode is primarily in court, one is Daredevil fighting bad guys in his awesome suits, this one is a bank heist gone awry, and all of them contain just enough of the overarching through line story-wise that I crave from good television and comic book series, but I digress. The lead Irish robber, we'll call Green, confronts Yusuf and tasks Khan with opening the bank vault. The police and SWAT arrive, the burglars panic, and Murdock discovers that Green and Red are in this together more than the rest, and Yusuf can't actually open the vault. Green gets in contact with hostage or bank robber negotiator Detective Angie Kim, and the two talk tough. Angie Kim might be a play off of NYPD Detective Elizabeth Kim from the comics, who was known for mixing it up with the X-Men and Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Green has demands for Kim, including a 30-minute time limit. Kim requests 2 hostages in a sign of good faith. Green complies. Murdock and a random woman are gonna be let free. The woman begs for her husband to be let free with her. Murdock demands Green lets the husband go too. Green hates Murdock tremendously, and the two trade barbs. Green lets the husband go with his wife and sends Blue to take Khan to the vault that he cannot open. Some old New Yorker guy says there's no money in the vault, only lock boxes. Murdock tells Red and Yellow he's gotta go piss. Red obliges. Khan is at the vault trying to buy time. Murdock whips Red's ass and takes his red mask. Poetic justice, to say the least. Murdock then saves Khan at the last second, and then Matt uses his senses to crack the vault, and this episode is so fucking awesome. This is peak Daredevil and by far my favorite episode in the series up until this point, and the beauty of telling superhero stories in television form rather than 2-hour movie form. Green tells Kim he wants to hear a funny joke. Murdock discovers the lockbox room and realizes that the robbers are after one lockbox in particular and something in specific. Kim tells Green an Irish joke and does an Irish accent. Racist. Just kidding. Green puts Kim's accent over, thank God, laughs at her joke about fucking a penguin, and then tells her she has 10 minutes before he shoots the first hostage. Khan uses a key Murdock finds on Blue to open the lockbox it belongs to, and they discover a tiny pouch with a red or orange diamond inside of it, or at least it looks red at the moment. Murdock discovers that the burglars are actually working for a crooked cop or possibly someone in the bank, I think, as the SWAT readies troops to storm the bank, and Murdock returns to the lobby. Green is on edge and ready to shoot someone. Murdock reveals he has the diamond. Green asks how he got it, and Murdock says he got it from one of his men. Matt throws the diamond in the air as the SWAT team storms the bank. Murdock joins in whooping some of the robbers' asses, and Green disguises himself as a police officer before handing the diamond off to one of the women in the bank who we thought was a fucking hostage. Hello? Green leaves the bank in uniform, and Murdock tracks him down while wearing the red mask he stole from Red. Poetic justice. Murdock beats the shit out of Green and breaks his bones, only for it to be revealed that Murdock had swapped the diamond with a candy from Khan's desk at some point, and the girl who was in on the heist got duped. Some time passes, and Murdock is back at the bank talking to Yusuf, not about the loan, but just checking in. The two assume the robbers were working for someone who works at the bank. Nailed it. Yusuf invites Murdock over for dinner with his family. Murdock accepts and asks to try a candy, which he does while slyly dropping the diamond in the candy tray for Khan to discover. The episode ends, and bravo. 5 out of 5, 2 thumbs up, all that good shit.
Rest room. Anyone else for the loo?
Episode 6 kicks off with a recap of White Tiger and Muse and the murals that have been popping up everywhere in town. BB reports, yuck, folks talk about how graffiti artists are hated on and blah blah blah. We cut to a landfill and someone discovers the body Muse plucked the eyeballs out of. Yuck. Back at Murdock's pad, he's remembering Foggy and praying, and I told you guys that they didn't drop the Catholic elements, you pussies, stop crying. Matt's therapist lady girlfriend says to him, you pray still, all condescending and shit. Matt replies he stopped a few times over the years but has gotten back to it. We check in with Fisk, who's being visited by the guy who was owed the $1.8 million a few episodes ago. Fisk is pissed and gives the man 5 minutes. Murdock's girlfriend is working on some project piece that has to do with vigilantes, of course, and then Fisk is told to shove the $1.8 million up his ass, and yes, the scene is cutting back and forth between the two settings. Fisk counters with $2.8 million, but he's bluffing and planted a tracking bug on the gangster guy while Murdock's girlfriend is pressuring him to get an interview with the Punisher or Daredevil or whatever hero vigilante he can get her. What a user. God, I don't like this chick. We come back with the opening credits and Wilson Fisk is meeting with Mr. Santini about the murals being left all over town. Santini informs Fisk that they're all made out of blood. Also, I'm pretty sure Santini is the same guy in the bank during episode 5 who tells Murdock about the lockboxes. Murdock and Kirsten are visited at their firm by Angela Del Toro. She tells Matt that her uncle was tracking all of the people going missing as of late. She says Hector would have wanted someone to finish his work. She also says that all of the missing people were taken by the abandoned Track 61 and that Murdock needs to help the little guy. Back at Fisk's office, the process of the blood murals is explained to him. Angie Kim is there and Kingpin is slowly descending into madness and right back to his old gangster ways. Fisk laughs and handles things the G-way, baby, and lays out a plan that is much less mayoral and way more Tony Soprano.
J.P. Morgans, they were crooks and killers too, but that was the business, right? The American way.
Later in the night, Muse is seen spray painting in an alley. 2 ladies approach him for some reason and want to take a picture. This is dumb. If he was this easy to stumble across, someone like Murdock would do it in 2 minutes. Muse attacks the ladies, obviously. We're back at the Fisks and the two are still awkward as ever. Nessa and Wilson wax poetic while it cuts back and forth with scenes from a banquet and a bunch of chumps walking all over Fisk. Both Nessa and Wilson want to be full-blown mobsters again, and it's only a matter of time before it happens. It should be noted that at the banquet, Fisk was greeted by one Jacques Duquesne, or Jacques Duquin, or Jacques Ducas, I'm not too sure myself. That being said, Jacques is the swordsman who was last seen in the MCU during the Hawkeye series. Fisk's suit jacket rips as Nessa helps him put it on, and Fisk has been totally emasculated at this point. Murdock meets with Cherry, who informs Matt that there's over 60 bodies attached to the Muse, and how he paints with his victim's blood. Cherry pleads with Murdock not to go after Muse and to let the police handle it. Of course, he ain't gonna do that shit. Back with the Fisks, Danny informs the mayor there's something he needs to see. Nessa seems excited at the fact Fisk is becoming more gangster again. Muse is now mocking the police with his art and leaving bodies just out in the open. BB reports the people are scared. We move along. Fisk meets with the police chief and decides to handpick a special task force to find the Muse. Really, the Muse is an excuse for Fisk to do gangster shit again. I love it. Fisk handpicked every dirty cop on the book and granted this task force special powers and privileges like no body cams and overtime pay as incentives. Some of the officers include Connor Powell, who's the dirty cop from the Ayala trial that Murdock has beef with, and Cole North, a former Chicago cop who got a raw deal and was sent to New York. It should be noted that Cole North is a character plucked straight from the comics, and Connor Powell could possibly be an amalgamation of both Connor Young and Christopher Powell from the comics, both of whom assumed the mantle of Darkhawk in the books. Chris Powell originally became Darkhawk as a teen after discovering the Darkhawk amulet, an android at an abandoned amusement park. The Darkhawk bond was broken with Chris due to cosmic events and his personal sacrifice to save others in an explosion. Years later, Connor Young, a teenaged basketball player with multiple sclerosis, discovered the Darkhawk amulet and android while saving a construction worker from some rubble and has carried the mantle ever since. The Darkhawk amulet transfers one consciousness into the Darkhawk android, which also switches places with its wielder's body. The alien armor possesses super strength and durability and all that good shit, and I'm not saying we're gonna get any of this in the MCU. I mean, certainly not in the Daredevil series, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind, no less. This whole task force concept is absolutely perfect. Fisk has his criminal cop G-men that Daredevil can fight while being demonized, pun intended. Daredevil and Muse will have common enemies beyond each other, and Frank Castle will have a reason to become the Punisher again and help save Hell's Kitchen, at least I hope so. We're at the abandoned tracks and Angela's discovering them alone. No, fuck, why Angela, why? She hears footsteps and we're back at Murdock's apartment. The Ayala home calls Murdock to inform him Angela hasn't been home. home. Why would you call your lawyer? Murdock calls 911, which is the first choice I would have made. They answer the phone. He literally says fuck it, hangs up, slaps on his Daredevil suit, and hits the rooftops to flip around town like Ben Affleck in 2003. At the tracks, Muse has Angela, duh, but luckily Double D is on his way. Muse injects Angela with some shit to make her sleep or something, and then stabs her with his blood-sucking machine. We cut to Fisk's basement where he keeps Adam in a cage. Holy shit. Poor Adam. Fisk says Vanessa wants him to let Adam go. Adam thanks Fisk. Fisk throws the axe to Adam. I'm confused. At the tracks, Angela is getting her blood sucked out. Muse gets a weird feeling and checks on the passing train. Daredevil pops out of nowhere and kicks the ever-loving piss out of Muse. Adam grabs the axe and runs at Fisk, who gave him the opportunity for somewhat of a fair fight, I guess. Fisk beats the ever-loving piss out of Adam. Kind of poor Adam. I mean, you did have an axe, bro. Come on. At the tracks, Muse grabs a blade and can actually scrap a little bit, but Murdock gets the better of the dorky pale art kid. At one point, Daredevil just walks forward into Muse's strikes and eats them with his hands down Kimbo Slice style while trading blows with the villain, showing how Murdock is becoming a little sadistic at this point and kind of enjoys the violence and pain. Similarly, Kingpin literally handed Adam an axe and asked for a fight, so I think the same applies with Wilson too. It gets to a point where Kingpin is throwing Adam into brick walls and cracking them while shouting "mine" at the top of his lungs, while Daredevil is strangling Muse to near death with the line in his billy club. That's when Daredevil notices Angela's heart rate drop to near death and he rushes to perform CPR while praying. Fisk is shown dragging Adam back into his cage, poor Adam, as Angela comes back to life and the Muse escapes. Amen. So here's my overall thoughts. I loved episode 5 with no BB reports. It always feels random and forced and doesn't add any real context to the show. It's just sort of there, and episode 5 proves that not only is it unnecessary, but it might actually even hurt the overall quality of the show. I do get why they dropped both of these episodes at once, because you could consider episode 5 a filler episode, although I feel like at least one element from that episode will come back in some capacity later in the series. That being said, episodes like this are sometimes the most fun and are exactly why you want to make comic books into TV shows to begin with. Before, everyone thought the move was to make just one 6-hour-long movie broken up into chunks, but true episodic elements and side quests are present in this series, and it is perfection. The back and forth scenes at the end of episode 6, akin to the end of episode 4, highlighting not only how people don't change, but Murdock and Fisk are both embracing their dark sides. Their reasons are different, their intentions are different, and the public perceptions of both parties are the opposite of what they truly are, and this contrasting dynamic between the two main characters is just so enthralling and fun to watch. The final scenes were incredibly powerful, with Kingpin sitting in Adam's cell with a look of relief on his face after rediscovering who he is. And in the same vein, Angela calling out Daredevil and Murdock responding, "Yes, I am here, it's me," to signify he's fully back as well. Just an utter masterpiece. These recent episodes make the first couple so much more sensible and worthwhile as well. With that being said, Phil marks out when you hit the like and subscribe button, so do that and come back for my very late recap and review of Daredevil Born Again, episode 7. See you there.